One day, Peppa was playing in her room, but she threw all her toys everywhere. The room looked just like a messy dump. When Daddy Pig walked in, he was not happy at all. Another time, Mommy Pig was carrying a cake from the kitchen. Peppa ran around without looking and bumped into her. Mommy fell, and the cake dropped on the floor. Mommy Pig was very upset, but Peppa still didn't realize her mistake. That night, when Mommy and Daddy were sleeping, Peppa took out a big speaker, played loud music, and sang very noisily. Her parents couldn't sleep at all. They were very angry. Daddy Pig scolded Peppa and sent her outside.
Oh no! Huh?
The door closed. Peppa was left alone in the dark with the cold wind blowing. She felt scared and very sorry for what she had done. When Mommy and Daddy saw that Peppa had learned her lesson, they opened the door and welcomed her back home.
A few
minutes later, Peppa cleaned up all her toys by herself. Then she went to bed under the warm and loving eyes of her parents. One sunny day, Peppa was relaxing in her little swimming pool. Suddenly, a tiny spider fell down and bit her, then quickly ran away. Peppa was startled, but she didn't notice anything strange. That night, while Peppa was sleeping, something magical was happening inside her body. The next morning, when Peppa looked in the mirror, she was shocked. She had turned into Spider Pig Peppa with amazing superpowers. The very next day, Susie Sheep slipped and was about to fall from a tall building. Everyone was scared and didn't know what to do. Just then, from far away, Peppa appeared in her Spider Pig suit. She swung across the tall buildings with her web and rescued Susie just in time. Everyone cheered. Later, in the city, a robber mouse attacked Little Zebra. Peppa quickly shot her web, took away his weapon, and defeated him in one move. In a secret room, Dr. Wolf heard the news and made a plan. He led his army to attack the city. At that moment, Peppa was playing happily with her friends. When the bad army came rushing in, Peppa used her webs to trap them all on the ground. Dr. Wolf pulled out a gun and fired, but surprisingly, the bullets didn't hurt Peppa at all. With her strong power, Peppa shot a big web and tied Dr. Wolf tightly. The city was safe again. Everyone clapped and cheered loudly. From that day on, Peppa was not only a sweet little pig, but also the city's brave hero, Spider Pig Peppa. Peppa's family was taking a walk in the forest. Suddenly, Peppa saw a little house. She ran toward it, but then, from inside, a frog witch flew out on a broomstick, holding a magic wand in her hand. They looked at each other. While Peppa was still surprised, the frog witch waved her wand and turned Peppa into a wolf, then flew away. Peppa was terrified of her new appearance. She hurried to find her family. At that time, her family was also searching for her in the forest. From afar, Peppa came running happily, but in the form of a wolf. Seeing this, the rest of the family was frightened. George screamed in fear, and the whole family ran away. Only Peppa remained, desperately calling after them. Wandering through the forest in the shape of a wolf, Peppa suddenly encountered a hunter. The hunter chased after her, forcing her to run and struggle to escape. After a long, exhausting morning, Peppa, still in the form of a wolf, became very hungry. Suddenly, she smelled food in the air. She followed the scent and saw a cake. Peppa walked closer, ready to eat it. But just then, the hunter appeared again and attacked her with his gun. Peppa was so frightened that she ran away, but in the end, the hunter beat her for daring to take his food. Finally, after a long day of fear and hardship, Peppa collapsed and fainted from exhaustion. By the pool, George, Peppa's little brother, was happily watching something on his phone, giggling to himself. Peppa walked by, curious, and peeked at the screen. Right away, she wanted to watch too, but George didn't want to share. He quickly got up and moved away. Peppa followed after him, but once again George stepped aside. He kept shooing her away, not letting her watch. Peppa got so mad. She stomped her feet, pouted, and marched back to her room. Inside her room, she rummaged around and found a strange little bottle of medicine. Without thinking twice, she opened it and drank it all. The effect was instant. Peppa's mouth grew wide, and her tummy started growling with hunger. Just then, a zebra walked by. With her big mouth and rumbling belly, Peppa ran over and gulped. She swallowed the zebra whole, and suddenly, a brand new Peppa clone popped out and soon spotted Dark Peppa walking down the street. Quickly, the other Peppas distracted her, and when Dark Peppa wasn't looking, gulp, Peppa swallowed her too. Another Peppa clone appeared. On and on it went. Peppa swallowed so many people along the way, and soon returned home with an entire army of Peppas behind her. Meanwhile, George was still glued to his phone at his show. But when he finally, George gasped in shock. A crowd of Peppas was flooding into the phone hole. Zap!
Oh no!
Stop!
She stretched out her little hand trying to pick a shiny red apple. But just as she was about to grab it, snatch! A strange hand stole the apple away. Oh no! She was so angry that she argued with Dark Peppa. But then, bam! Dark Peppa pushed her around and even beat her up. Poor Peppa was furious. She stormed back home, went straight to her room, and pulled out the cloning machine. Peppa stepped inside and pressed the button. Whir, whir, whir. The machine shook and glowed brightly. And suddenly, whoosh, 1,000 Peppas appeared, rushing out to find Dark Peppa. At that moment, Dark Peppa was bullying George. She tried to scare him so she could steal his apple. But then, surprise, 1,000 Peppas jumped out and surrounded Dark Peppa from every side. George quickly ran behind the circle of Peppas. Dark Peppa tried to chase after him, but the Peppas closed the circle tighter and tighter, blocking every way out, filled with fear as the brave little Peppas closed in. By the pool, George, Peppa's little brother, was happily watching something on his phone, giggling to himself. Peppa walked by, curious, and peeked at the screen. Right away, she wanted to watch too. But George didn't want to share. He quickly got up and moved away. Peppa followed after him, but once again George stepped aside. He kept shooing her away, not letting her watch. Peppa got so mad. She stomped her feet, pouted, and marched back to her room. Inside her room, she rummaged around and found a strange little bottle of medicine. Without thinking twice, she opened it and drank it all. The effect was instant. Peppa's mouth grew wide, and her tummy started growling with hunger. Just then, a zebra walked by. With her big mouth and rumbling belly, Peppa ran over and gulp! She swallowed the zebra whole. And suddenly, A brand new Peppa clone popped out. Peppa kept going and soon spotted Dark Peppa walking down the street quickly. And when Dark Peppa wasn't looking, gulp, Peppa swallowed her too. Another Peppa clone appeared. On and on it went. Peppa swallowed so many people along the way and soon returned home with an entire army of Peppas behind her. Meanwhile, George was still glued to his phone, laughing at his show. But when he finally looked up, George gasped in shock. A crowd of Peppas was flooding into the house. Startled, he dropped his phone high into the air, and in a flash, gulp, Peppa swallowed the phone whole. Zap! A spark of electricity shot out, and suddenly the cloning tower burst wide open. Countless Peppas popped out all at once as George stood frozen, his eyes